Welcome to the Creators Spotlight, the interview portion of the Spotlight right here on Fightful. I, as always, am Steven Jensen here, as always, with Jeremy Lambert. And today our guest is a U.S. Army veteran. He is a professional wrestler. He is a professional eater. We are joined by Megabyte Ronnie. How you doing, man? Thank you for joining us.
No problem, man. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
Doing good. Yes, I have a lot of things I want to talk about. I could probably talk to you for hours because I actually am a big fan of competitive eating. Like, unironically, like I actually do I follow a lot of the YouTubers. I follow some of the competitive scene a little bit. I get really hyped up for the 4th of July every year for the Nathan's contest. So like, I have a lot of pro wrestling stuff I want to ask, a lot of competitive eating type stuff. So I'm like really excited for this episode.
Sick, man. I love talking about eating. So we'll talk it up.
Let's start with the hot dog eating contest. We're talking a little bit off air, and Jensen mentioned I want to hit you up like the day after the contest was done and see if you want to talk to us. And you're like, yeah, I'm kind of done on those days. So how was the Nathan's hot dog eating experience, and how are you feeling now, or 2 weeks removed? I think.
Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks removed, I'm feeling fine. This past weekend, I actually did an ice cream challenge. I ate 8 pounds of ice cream this weekend, so I'm back in it. As far as like Nathan's go, man, like that day is just the best day of the year, without a doubt. Like I count down starting 364. Like I cannot wait to the 4th of July to get back on Surf and Stillwell for Nathan's. Just the contest, the atmosphere, getting to see all my eating friends, and we all go out and party that night. It's just like everything. It's the best day of the year, hands down.
Yeah, and me and Jeremy both look forward to it as fans because we didn't even know before we talked to each other this 4th of July. I hit him up. I direct message him. This is a true story. I direct message him and I was like, hey, man, we're definitely going to be talking about the hot dog eating contest on the show on Thursday. And he immediately sent me a screenshot of him watching the contest at home. Like he was already watching it. So like
tradition.
Yes, absolutely. So I don't even know exactly where to start. My first question on the eating side, and when it comes to the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, as a competitor yourself, competing against someone like Joey Chestnut, who like is so dominant, but like so impressive, is it something when you compete against a guy like that? Is it like just cool to be like up there competing with a guy who's so legendary at what he does? Or is it a little frustrating because like you want to win, but he like wins by so much every year that it almost seems like the fight for second place is kind of like where the real competition is at. And then Joey just kind of, I mean, he might put someone in a headlock and still win the competition. You know what I mean? So what's it like competing against a guy like that?
Well, to shine a light on this, or I don't know, to use the wrestling term, spartan you up to eating business. Joey Chestnut is really only untouchable at hot dogs. So like, right. The number 2 eater in the world, Jeff Esper, I believe in the past year hasn't lost to him at another contest besides hot dogs. So it's like, it's cool. And Joey is the GOAT without a doubt. Like it's cool to be on stage with Joey. Like I've been there like 5 times while he breaks the record. Like I'm on the table while Joey's down like 5 people away from me breaking records, Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. Like I'm okay with him being so dominant at hot dogs because like, and ice cream and chili and stuff like that, I'm not that far behind him. So I don't know. It's cool.
Right. Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because for people who don't pay much attention, like the 4th of July is like the Super Bowl of it, like the hot dog eating contest. But the Major League Eating happens all throughout the year, not just on an MLW scale, but MLE scale, Major League Eating. But you have like YouTubers and stuff like that are making full-time careers on YouTube, whether it's like in actual competitions or just eating really large amounts of food, just like sitting at a restaurant or something. So kind of where do you think you kind of fit into the space? Because you do it competitively. I know you're a ranked eater currently. Do you like being a part of because I've heard like varying things about like being a part of that Major League Eating versus like doing it independently, and like kind of how do you feel about kind of your spot right now in that scene?
Yeah, I think so the people who do it independently and they do it at the top of the independent level, I think that's pretty smart for them. I think like financially they can make a lot more money doing contests that aren't MLE related. MLE only has a set amount of contests per year, but if you're doing independent, like you can find an eating contest like every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Like you can just travel around doing eating contests and make a decent amount of money. So the people who do it independent, I don't blame them. For me personally, I don't know. It's never really been about a money thing. Like for me, it's just like it's really cool to be able to compete at the highest level of the sport against the other top level athletes of the sport. So like, if I was the 20th best throwing the football in the world, I would want to be in the NFL playing, NFL football. But like I'm the 20th best eater in the world, so I want to be in Major League Eating, and I want to be going against the best eaters at the best contests. So that's the reason I do that.
I want to know how one just gets into competitive eating. As a kid, are you just like, man, I'm really eating a lot? Are you at the lunch table challenging your friends? Like, I bet I can eat all of this before. Like, how do you actually get into competitive eating and realize like I have a knack for eating a lot of food in a short amount of time?
It was sort of an accident. So like back in 2013, like Man vs. Food was probably one of my favorite shows on TV. And I always thought it was sick, right? Like I always wanted to go do a restaurant challenge because you see that and you're like, I could do that. You want to see if you could go do it. Well, I was in the Army at the time, and I kind of got a short notice that I was deploying to Afghanistan. Like most people get a 9 months notice that they're going to Afghanistan. I got a 2 weeks notice. So like after that 2 weeks notice, I was like, you know what? Let me go try one of those challenges. Sort of like one of those things. So like if I don't make it back, it's like I would always wonder. So I went down the street and I did a 3-pound burger and a pound of fries, and I did that in the time. I deployed to Afghanistan, and while I was in Afghanistan, like I found out how you get on the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, which is you have to go to one of the 15 qualifiers around the United States, be the top man, be the top woman. So it just so happened 2 weeks after I got back from Afghanistan, I was in Georgia. There was a qualifier in Atlanta, an MLE qualifier. So I went up there and I did that, and I finished second, and I ate 16 the very first time I ate, and they signed me to a contract that day. And I was like, well, I guess I'm pretty good at this. I'll just do this now,
That's awesome. What's your personal record in hot dogs in 10 minutes?
On contest is 29.5, and I have done 35 in the backyard trying to get ready for the contest. Yeah.
So like the preparation, that's a whole other thing, because people might not realize like most of the competitive eaters that I kind of follow, most of them are in like really good physical shape, and that was something where I saw people kind of like joking, with like Joey Chestnut this year is in a boot, and people were like, well, he's just standing there eating, right? Like, what's the big deal? And I'm like, yeah, that might have like hindered him like working out in preparation for this. Like, there's a lot that goes into being in the kind of shape to. I mean, when y'all are done eating the hot dogs, you look like you just went through an entire NBA game from start to finish. I mean, you're sweating and you're chewing and it's like it's no joke that 10 minutes that's hard work. And so can you speak a little to that? And obviously it ties in with the pro wrestling, because you have to be in good shape to do that. And it all just kind of seems like you've picked some pretty cool avenues to be able to use your athleticism and everything, all together in multiple sports.
Yeah, man, I got lucky. These kind of go hand in hand. I think they're both like, from like the carny or the carnival. So they're kind of very related. But it's one of those things. So in eating, your stomach is basically like a giant balloon, right? So your stomach can expand more the less fat you have, because the fat is what's getting in the way of stopping that balloon from expanding. So the majority of us are in good shape. I wouldn't say it's 100% because of eating, but like it kind of attracts the same people. You see a lot of bodybuilders in eating, or personal trainers, or triathlon athletes. Like you kind of see those people in eating, and it makes sense because those type of people are the same people who are eating really high calorie meals. Same thing with like a wrestler my size. Like I got to eat a lot of calories to stay up to 245 pounds. Like it don't just stay there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's what it sort of attracts, and it just attracts the athlete. And yeah, it is gnarly, dude. I mean, after a 10-minute eating contest, I am wore out. Like I'm useless the rest of the day. Like that's all my energy. It's all my athletic ability right there. So, and I don't know. It kind of helps to look good in your underwear in wrestling. So the less fat I have, the better I look, in my gear.
After the Nathan's contest, when do you eat your next meal? Like when do you get hungry again after something like that?
that night, man.
That
like,
night.
me and my wife actually smashed like a whole large pizza at like 11 o'clock.
I wanted to know, like, do you like enjoy food? Like, you could just like kind of snack on something, or you see like a meal or any type of food, like, gotta finish this in like 3 seconds, just like pound through it. Do people challenge you when a meal is in front of you? Like, do you get to actually sit down and just enjoy and like savor any type of meal?
So like one of my funniest stories. So like whenever I go out to eat, my wife makes me eat food before we go out. So I don't buy like 2 of the main courses. But yeah, but it does happen a lot, man, where I'll sit down with people who maybe like just knew I was a competitive eater, but it's like the first time they met me and we're at an eating environment, and I could feel like everybody at the table stared at me. And I'm like, man, I'm just trying to enjoy my food down here. Like it's I don't know. People do, every time there's a restaurant that has a restaurant challenge, people want me to do it. Like no matter what, like I could just accidentally go to a restaurant and there's one there and people are like, oh, you're going to do that. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm not. That's not. Pick my spots, brother.
I know you mentioned you've been to Atlanta. I don't know if you're local to Atlanta or if you've just been here a handful of times, but are you familiar with the Big Pie Challenge, the giant pizza here?
Is that a team challenge or is
it is? It's 2 people.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just wondering because no one I know has been successful. I've seen some like really good YouTubers do it, and I'm sure it's something you'd be able to do. But my brother, I told my brother I was interviewing you today, and he was like, "You got to ask him about Big Pie because if he's in Atlanta, we gotta go at the same time, and one of us try to hold
Jensen's
on."
Looking for a tag team partner.
Looking for a tag team partner on it. Looking for a tag team partner.
Challenge.
It's kind of funny because like if you are a fan of that, I actually have a challenge coming up. We're doing it next weekend with another independent wrestler. It's going to be me and Jeff Cannonball. We're going to be tag teaming a restaurant challenge. That's going to be coming soon to my YouTube. So that's something that I'm trying to incorporate more. I'm trying to find more eating challenges that I can get other wrestlers in and sort of just tag team. I think a lot of people would like to see that.
Oh, see, that's a good concept for you see all these vlogs and everything with wrestlers. That's a very good concept for a series on YouTube.
Yeah, Cannonball is stoked, man. He's asking me for tips all the time. He's ready for it.
And also kind of like tying it in with pro wrestling. I got to bring this guy up because he deserves so much credit. In my opinion, like when it comes to hype men in all of sports, I think George Shea is like it's like him and Bruce Buffer, or like, I mean, like legitimately, those are the guys. If I want someone to hype me up, those are the guys. It's really kind of like a big pro wrestling presentation on the 4th of July. I mean, Joey Chestnut came down on like a lift type thing, and everyone has their intros, when they come out. Yours was fantastic, by the way. You came out and you had me hyped up for that contest. Like you had the crowd going. I mean, it's pretty much the most American thing you can do, to be like an Army veteran and then go into competitive eating on the 4th of July. Like it hypes me up, man. What's that whole feeling like when that dude's introducing you and like you're getting ready to put down these hot dogs?
Man, I tell you what, that's why I signed that contract so fast. Because my very first contest, man, I was the second to last person out. They kind of hyped me up as the guy who was going to beat this guy who was really good. I had no fucking shot. Sorry.
No.
You can curse. You're good.
I had no shot against this guy. Anyways, so like I come out and I have like my own entrance music. There's George Shea giving me this introduction of like how I just got back from Afghanistan and I'm here to save the country. And I'm like, oh God, like, am I really worth all that? You know what I'm saying? So like that was what hooked me instantly. And then to have it on the 4th of July, I mean, like, I know how to get people excited. So I know what I'm doing out there, but it's just really good to get up on that catwalk and hit that salute, and people just go absolutely ballistic for that, man. I love it.
I mean, it is total pro wrestling. I want to transition here to wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get started when it comes to wrestling? Like, where did you train at? Like, how did that all come together with pro wrestling in you?
So it's kind of funny. Like it was one of those things that like I always wanted to get into, right? So like when I got out of the Army at 24, I had paid like a deposit to go to Lance Storm's wrestling academy, and like I didn't go. Like I just sort of like I don't know, kind of like chickened out or whatever. It was just like
Did you get your deposit back?
No, I did not. Lance Storm still has $500 of Megabyte Ronnie's money.
Oh, man.
But it's all good. Like it's all fine. So like anyways, from 24 to 29, I just kind of like sat around, like not doing a whole lot. And at 29, I was just like, that wrestling thing, if I don't go do that, then I'm not really going to be happy with, like the way this thing ends. Like I have to go do it. Right. So I had a friend who was up in Buffalo, and I was just looking to kind of like escape my situation I was in at the moment, just go do something new. And it just so happened to be that there was Grapplers Anonymous in Buffalo, which is a wrestling school. I didn't know anything about it. I just moved to Buffalo and was like, there's a wrestling school there. I'm going to go there. I didn't know it was going to be like as amazing as a school as it was. So I was trained by Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics. And then I was in the class right behind like Daniel Garcia, Kevin Blackwood, and Puff. So I was like right behind those guys. You had the Butcher teaching like an advanced class on Wednesday. Like I just landed in the best situation you could have ever asked for sure.
Yeah, a lot of really good people came out of that scene, that Buffalo scene. A lot of people really thriving right now. Mm-hmm. I've seen you pop up a little bit in AEW as well. What was the experience like on BTE? I marked out pretty hard seeing you doing some. I was hoping that was going to stick longer. I was hoping that was going to be a longer thing.
So it's kind of funny. So like a lot of people don't realize this, but my 20th ever match was on AEW. So like really? I was like brand new, man. Like I was pretty stoked to be in a situation like that. Actually, I got on to AEW because I ate chicken wings with Cody Rhodes on Hot Ones. So like I kind of got there a different way. I got there through eating, but that's either here or there. Yeah, I mean, so for being the elite, I'm backstage, I'm hanging out, right? And the Bucks walk up to me and they're like, hey, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but we have this YouTube series. I'm like, guys, like shut the fuck up. Like I know what the elite is.
I'm a YouTuber, man. Of course.
Like I'm a wrestler, bro. Like I'm not just like some eater guy just hanging around back here. And they were like, hey, we'd really like you to do this scene. We'll come up with something. And they started asking me for ideas like what type of food I wanted. And I was just like, I want something soft, but I don't want something that's just like pudding, you know what I'm saying? Like I want it to look like spray every fucking where while I'm eating it. And they're like, all right, cool. So they came up with the idea with cake, and I wanted something that was kind of juicy, so I didn't like choke on it, because I didn't want to be drinking a lot of water in the scene, you know what I'm saying? So I said a lemon glazed cake, which is a huge mistake, because those are way drier than I anticipated, man. Yeah, so we go to film this scene, and they're telling me what they want me to do. They're like, hey, we want you to walk down this hallway, and then we want you to, come around the corner, and then you're going to give the kick to Brandon and stuff like that. And I'm like, cool. So like they didn't give me any instructions. So I just like hit that scene where I'm walking down the hallway, and I did that in one take, and they were like, holy shit, like we were not expecting all this. So man, they just roll me into this room. I'm eating 2 lemon glazed cakes while Brandon's on the phone. He's saying stuff about his scrotum, like I'm almost choking because I'm laughing. And why I'm doing this, man, there's like 10 other wrestlers in the room. Like Miro is literally like 5 feet away from me. Like I'm just like living the dream. I tell you that scene was amazing. One of the best things I'll probably ever do in my life. Great.
Oh my God. If I remember correctly, it was all like one shot too. Like you ate the entire thing. Like I don't think the camera even cut off of you. It was a real time. You just eat your entire cake.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
So did Cody, invite you to the dark tapings? Because I believe they were. This was during the pandemic and everything, and it was at Daly's place. So did Cody invite you to that when you did Hot Ones with him?
Yeah, so we did Hot Ones. Me and my wife got on Hot Ones, the game show, right? So like I kind of was cool with Sean Evans, the host of it, from that. And he reached out to me and said, hey, during the pandemic, we're going to do this thing, like a redemption thing for people who didn't win. And you're going to be teamed up with somebody famous. So, like Hot Ones producers got with me and they were like, so do you know like actors and celebrities? I was like, nah, not really. Cause I like, don't, I don't know pop culture, man. I was like, they're like, well, what do you know? I was like, wrestling. They're like, all right, we'll find something for you. So I had heard, they had emailed me back later and they were like, oh, so you're probably going to be doing stuff with Impractical Jokers. You need to start watching them. So I started watching Impractical Jokers for like 2 weeks to get ready for this thing, man. And then I'm coming in there and I start the show and there's Cody Rhodes. And, we go through and we do the Hot Ones thing, but I don't think he was expecting me to be like sort of what I was, because he kept complimenting me on like my body and like my presentation and stuff like that. And then at the end of it, he was like, hey man, we got to get you down here sometime. We'll be in touch and we'll get you down here. And when they invited me out there, they never told me I was wrestling or anything like that. I just sort of brought my gear with me because you always bring your gear with you. And I got there and I was on the card. I was the very last match. Me and Brian Cage, we wrestled at like 4 a.m. and it was great.
Yes, always bring your gear. That is the wrestler's rule that is out there. And I know those tapings at Dark were extremely, extremely long. Did you, you said Miro was right there. Did you talk to any of the wrestlers? Did you talk to Tony Khan about anything happening in AEW? But who'd you interact with backstage at AEW?
I'm gonna be honest, like I got lucky because it just so happened the other Buffalo guys were there. So it was just really me, Kevin Blackwood, Puff, and Daniel Garcia. We kind of hung out to our, with our own crew. We interacted with everybody there. I mean, Miro was a real big fan of me eating, who else was in the room? Tony Khan was there. He was a big fan of it. He was around, like, I don't know, pretty much the whole crew. Like, nobody. No, here's the thing about AEW that I didn't expect is that everybody there is like really cool. So you're just like backstage and everybody's just like talking. Everybody's gathered around the TV watching each other's matches. Everybody's like cheering for other people. Like it feels like a real cool like brotherhood there. And I felt very welcomed, for the one day I was there.
It's very cool. Who were you always a fan of wrestling, and if so, like who were some of your favorite wrestlers like growing up?
Yeah, so like when I was 4, my dad was in the military and we were in Germany and we didn't get a lot of TV channels. Like he had 4 options. They're the AFN networks, especially what the Army gives you. So I didn't have like cartoons or anything. And then I just discovered wrestling and it was like the most craziest thing I had seen at the time, with the the gear, the way people look, the face painting, the big men fighting and stuff like that. So like the second I saw that was everything to me. Like wrestling was just number one, like my entire life. So it was just like, as soon as I saw it, was hooked. As far as my favorite wrestlers growing up, like my favorite bar none's The Rock. If I had to, like, somebody asked me this on Reddit the other day, if I had to do a top 4, it'd be The Rock, Chris Jericho, Scott Hall, and Kurt Hennig. So
good top 4.
That's
very good top 4. I want to switch over to PWE because you headlined the show this past weekend against Hot Dog Starks, and you lost to a hot dog.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if the Undertaker is a hot dog. Like,
this is a big controversy. I've seen this controversy that a hot dog has defeated you. So you're claiming that the Undertaker not an actual hot dog, and you're still undefeated.
It's not alive. Have you ever seen a dead hot dog? I don't think so. So that's not a hot dog. That's a Undertaker. That's another being, brother.
That's fair. That's valid.
What was it? Main eventing the PWE show and wrestling on IWTV and going up against Hot Dog Starks.
It's sick, man, because it's like this company believes in you enough to like give you the main event of their show that's on IWTV. They've been behind us the entire time. Let us build this feud. I mean, we got this feud over on ESPN, man. Like Hot Dog Starks was there in 2020, costing me my personal record. Like he showed up and got in my face on ESPN. So it's just kind of cool for me and him to like have this like epic feud and like a company behind it really believe in it, really promote it, and just like give us that opportunity. And it's definitely a special memory for me, even though I lost unfortunately to a guy who is not a hot dog.
What would be some other memories that really stand out from your pro wrestling or from your eating career?
I would say in pro wrestling, really early on, I think on like match 16 or something. The school I trained for, Grapplers Anonymous, they were hosting a show. It was one of their first shows, and they trusted me in the semi-main against Daniel Garcia. And like Daniel Garcia should be wrestling, I don't know, the best people in the world like he is right now. He should have been doing that, years ago. But like to have that sort of trust, to be in there with that guy, that one always is pretty special to me. And then, of course, the one on AEW with Brian Cage, just to be able to go out there and do what I do and be myself. And they let me do that. And Brian Cage, worked with me. So like, those are probably the top 3. As far as eating goes, my best memory in eating, like I mentioned earlier, you gotta qualify to make it to Nathan. So I qualified in 2013. I qualified in 2014. And I didn't qualify in 2015, 2016, and 2017. I actually lost 7 qualifiers, and most of them I lost by like 1 or 2 hot dogs. So I was really down. And then in 2018, I was like, you know what? Like, I will never, ever watch this freaking contest at home again. Like, there's no way I will never not qualify. And I went out to the first qualifier of the year and I hit it out of the park and I qualified. And I've qualified every year since then. So that Nashville qualifier really is really a special place for me.
What made you turn the corner or get into that next gear to where you like now you just hit that next gear and never look back?
I moved to Buffalo, man. Moving to Buffalo changed my life. I'll be honest with you. I just sort of, I don't know. I just hit a point in my life where I was like, you know what? It's like now or never. And it was now.
I mean, what was it about Buffalo that sparked sort of a change?
I don't know. It's just like I was in a good atmosphere, man. I moved up here because my best friend from the Army was here. So it's real nice to have like, because the brotherhood in the Army is something special. So to have somebody like that and to be able to train at a school that I was getting to train at, man, like I was just excited to go train with those guys every Monday, Wednesday, like just to learn from Brandon Thurston and ask him questions about wrestling and stuff like that. Luckily got a good job, met my wife. Like it just sort of all happened for me in Buffalo. So
you mentioned being a big fan of ice cream. So when you're not competitively eating ice cream, what is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Favorite ice cream flavor. That's a hard one. I'll give you my favorite ice cream, which is fish food. So if I had to give you a food, it would be Ben & Jerry's fish food.
Okay.
Trying to think of a flavor, man.
I think the Ben & Jerry stuff like kind of counts as a flavor. Personally speaking.
We'll just stick with fish food.
Okay. What were you gonna say? Because I cut you off and I apologize for that.
Funny enough, I really like key lime pie. So like a good key lime pie flavored ice cream. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, okay. What's your overall favorite food?
Chicken wings. So my
Buffalo's a good place to live then, right?
Yeah. That's probably why I turned it all around, man. It's because I got those high quality wings in me. But chicken wings is probably my favorite food. And believe it or not, I would say hot dogs are probably my second favorite food. Like I won't eat them right after the 4th of July, but come December, I'll have some barbecue dogs,
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite like eating YouTubers that you like to watch?
Favorite eating YouTuber I like to watch is probably Beard Meets Food. And that's because Beard is a really good, he's so artistic. He's so like his videos are so well shot. He's such a good character. He's such a good person. He's very entertaining. He's very good at eating. It's just like it's the top notch to me. It's like the premier content for eating. Like we all have to get on his level of production.
Well, he's got the high production on YouTube, and he's also, I believe, the #1 ranked eater in his country, and also competes in Nathan's on the 4th of July. So he's a guy who's really doing it all. Are you familiar with a guy called Brandon the Garbage Disposal Clark?
Yeah, I am actually.
Okay. That guy fascinates me because he seems like the most fringe part of this community where like, I think he can out eat anybody, but like instead he's like literally swallowing hot dogs to like mess with people and stuff like that. But I think it's entertaining, but you never see him in like the competitions or anything.
No, man, that brother's a good eater, like no doubt about it. But it's just like there's so many people who are on YouTube eating a lot of food. So if you could find another niche for yourself, like why not go that route?
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm a big fan. Like I like all those guys. Like I think I initially discovered maybe like Randy Santel years ago, and of course there was Matt Stoney through the competitive and through YouTube, and Joel Hansen has had a big come up. Model versus Food, all those guys.
You like Joel?
I like Joel. Yeah, do you?
Yeah, I've done some traveling with Joe, so there's been some road stories where me and him will go to like a city and knock out like 5 or 6 challenges in a weekend. Man, Joe is a warrior. That dude he's great.
That's so cool. I would love to hear more stories about the two of you guys because that guy's very impressive. He's one of the like he's a model, like he's a literal model, and he can eat like so much volume. It's impressive. That's really cool that you know each other.
I tell you this, if Joel signed with Major League Eating, he'd be a top 5 eater. Like he's legitimately one of the best eaters in the world. And it's unfair that he looks as handsome as he does while he's doing it.
Well, it's funny when you watch this video, sometimes like those women will be walking by the table and just like,
I've seen it, man. I've been on the table. He's a very handsome guy. No doubt about it.
It's funny. I never get to talk about this stuff with anybody. So I'm just happy you even know what I'm talking about right now. So.
Okay, for sure.
Last one here for you. Coolest thing you got in your room?
Coolest thing I got in my room. All right, let's see. I'm gonna go. I just grabbed my Waluigi that I have hanging up on my wall. So I got a Waluigi as my favorite Mario character. That's probably I I got a hot dog trophy. I don't know. I kind of panicked on this one. It's the first thing I saw.
Wait, sometimes we catch people off guard. Some people are like, as we ask everybody, and some people are caught off guard, and some people are like, oh, I got this thing right here. It's a nice little capper to the interview of all this. But Waluigi, that's a good Mario character. That's one of the kids' favorites.
I like it.
That's my go-to Mario Kart character.
You know what? I've actually got. You can't. I don't want to. This will take too much time, but I got some Mario stuff in here. Got a big Mario in here.
Jensen's got like giant of everything. Giant
belts,
giant figures.
I have a life-size Sonic the Hedgehog. Which
man.
Yeah, he wears my. I didn't know what to do. I have one of those Popofkas that that Khabib Nurmagomedov wears, and I didn't have anywhere to put it, so I just put it on my giant Sonic, and he just like hangs out in our living room, and we call him Sonic Nurmagomedov. So, But last question I've got for you, Ronnie. Goals in eating and in pro wrestling, and in kind of a perfect world, when it's kind of all said and done, like what are the things that you wanted to have accomplished?
And eating is actually really simple. Like I just want to eat 40 hot dogs on the 4th of July. Like that's been my goal this entire time. Like even like my first like Nathan's, it was like, what's your goal? It's 40. It's always been 40. I've always known I can eat 40. I can't eat 40 in 10 minutes, but I'm going to one day. Like I'm going to get there, no doubt about it. As far as wrestling goes, man, I don't know. I guess my goal would just be doing it more. I'd just like to be wrestling every weekend, man. Like there's nothing like it. There's nothing like being in a ring. There's nothing like entertaining the fans. And I don't know. I would like to not be able to have a full-time job and just be a wrestler. And that's pretty much my goal. Does that goal mean I sign a contract or what? I don't care, man. As long as I'm living and having fun with wrestling, that's where I want to be.
Awesome.
Ronnie, I do have one more question, actually. I don't know if you saw Raw on 4th of July. Did you see this hot dog eating contest they put on, and Otis is throwing up out there? Like, what do you make of something like that?
I saw the highlights of it, man, and I don't know. It was just sort of like one of those things that like I wish they would just reach out to me. Like I could have really spiced that up. You know what I'm saying? Like you could have flew me out there for that, and it would have been nice. Like I don't know. Like it kind of sucks when people take a jab at our sport like that. So I don't know. Just ask me about it next time, I guess. WWE. Like I don't know what to say. Yeah, I would have been. I've been able to give a lot of cool tips and probably made that better. Even if they didn't want to feature me on it, like I could have just showed them how to make it look like a better presentation, I guess. I don't know.
Bruce, next 4th of July, hit up Megabyte Ronnie. Let him consult on your terrible eating contest that you guys do. Megabyte Ronnie, we appreciate you joining us here today. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com /Megabyte Ronnie, or just at Megabyte Ronnie. I don't know how many of you guys know about /s out there. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com /Megabyte Ronnie, or I'm sure if you just type in there Megabyte Ronnie, you'll find me. If you want to support me, the best thing you could do is just head on over to my YouTube and like it and subscribe to it. And that would be great.
Again, thank you again for joining us. We'll have to have you back. I know Jensen has a million more questions about competitive eating.
I can do an entire hour-long interview about just the garbage disposal, Brandon Clark. Alone. So yeah.
For sure. I'll be back anytime you guys want.
Awesome. We appreciate it, man. Thank you again for joining us, guys. We'll be right back here on the Spotlight.